Alright, guys. So, I went through, and this is a little bit more of an addition later on to the recording process. I went through, found their mod, and removed it for the time being off of this save. That way I can actually do a little bit of research into it and understand how to use that mod a little bit better for the chicken side. So we are at least going to start producing chicken feed. We still have a liming contract that needs to be done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this unloaded. We'll go up, go grab some lime. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it jump cut to after that field is said and done. Because I really don't see the point in subjugating you guys to that at the moment. So I'll bring you guys right on back in after that is all said and done. Good morning, everybody. Well, went through and we did whatever we could for a little bit there, but we got quite a bit of snow that came in. Redo that, Andrew, because there's one thing you need to change. Right, 3, 2, 1. And good morning, everybody. Well, don't have great news. We got quite a bit of snow that came in. And we got the phone call that the city needs us out today to go get these roads cleaned out. So, gotta hope that the old diesel's gonna... Ah, there she goes. We'll worry about plowing our area later once we get the city all sorted out. We still have more snow inbound. So the sooner we get out here moving the snow, the better. We do have some eggs put away at the moment that we'll worry about in just a little bit. But I gotta go and run down here, talk with them. It looks like they've had people working on certain sections, but there's other sections that are blowing over again. So we'll run into town right quick here, talk with them, figure out exactly where they want us to start. Because, tell you what, there's quite a bit on the ground. Luckily there's no one else out right now because they issued a basically warning to everybody. Told me to go on in that they gave the license plate number to the authorities in case if the authorities see us come driving through. They know that we're supposed to be out, trying to help them get everything plowed out. So once I get done talking with them inside of the facility down here, we will figure out exactly what our game plan is. Alrighty, now that we got everything going, we're snow plowing here. I'm gonna have a couple pieces of conversation here with you guys and gals about everything that's been going on. Obviously, this episode is very, very late. It was not initially intended for this to be late, but there's been a lot going on my end, and I kind of need to explain what's been going on. So basically, right now I'm in the process of seeing multiple doctors about my back. My back's not doing too great in the sense of there's a lot that we found wrong. I'm trying to go through the processes of taking care of things appropriately, but there's only so much that I can do at a time between a facility closing that I was supposed to go to start care to be able to get me possibly back on track. Issues with having to take care of family, even though with everything going on with me, I can't per se let my father-in-law go through and get himself in trouble with the stuff that he is trying to process on his end right now, which is not any further for me to talk about. And sitting for long periods and standing for long periods of time have been a bit of an issue lately when it comes to just about anything between work, home, driving in the car, stuff like that. So is an issue that I'm trying to figure out the best way for me to approach this to be able to still create content, but still take care of my health as best as I feasibly can. Plus, not only is this giving me something to do and entertaining people, hopefully, I don't know if it is, to be honest with you guys, but I mean, if it is, say something in the comments, anything along those lines. But besides that, I mean, I'm still going to try to keep pushing this stuff out. I'm going to still try to make content and try to make good content. There is something in the works of possibly a co-op deal that I'm going to be doing with one of my buddies that I do game with every now and again. Us doing a almost an old Iron series on a map. Possibly. We're still talking through everything over Discord and everything to kind of decide exactly what we're going to do and how we're going to approach it, let alone what map we're going to use. So that is in the works. There's been toss up about that being a recorded series, that being a live streamed series. We don't necessarily know yet. That's still, like I said, in the works, trying to be figured out. The Starfield series, which, if any of you guys have seen the post that I made about, basically, I am going to be live streaming that. So the initial plan is, because I bought the pack that gets you the 5-day early access, the plan is I'm going to try to live stream it a little bit each day after work every day. That way I'm putting a little bit of stuff out there. It's not interfering hopefully with farm sim as much. Basically giving me a little bit more of a not only game selection but a birth of things that I'm doing to help keep myself preoccupied, because there is a lot of stuff that I used to do before I started getting into this, which has been more of a keeping me busy, keeping my mind focused, and giving me something to do, because other activities that I used to love to do and stuff that I would normally do, I cannot do anymore. So this has been not only a constructive way to use that extra time, because I do need something to do, and is more or less basically why I've done this and made this channel and have made this series, is literally just to give me something to do. Now, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm still going to put content on here as much as I can. Whatever that consistency may possibly be, I'm not 100% sure yet. My initial plan, like I've told you guys from the beginning, is about every week to 2 weeks. Right now it's been averaging 2 weeks, but this episode, obviously, like I said, this is, getting into a territory of, hey, there is other stuff going on and other factors that are now starting to negatively affect the situation that we currently are facing on my end. At the end of the day, it is, I have to take care of my health, and I know that for a fact. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to not only take care of myself, but take care of my wife and take care of the family. So it is a situation of, I am going to try to post as much as I can. I'm going to try to do a live stream or two every now and again. But if it gets into a situation where my health is going to be a possible issue that's going to prevent me from making decent content, at least, because don't get me wrong, I do not consider myself perfect in any way. I don't consider what I'm making to be perfect in any way, because this is a learning process for me. The video editing and the audio editing and stuff like that is more new territory to me than anything else. Yes, I've had a little experience with video editing, but not much. So this is all getting into a new situation for me, giving me a new skill set to focus my mind on while I can't do anything else that I would normally do. So at the end of the day, I mean, that kind of is getting into it without exactly getting into the exact details, because that is, I'm going to say, a situation of, that is for myself and my family to know and understand the exact situation of what is going on, because it is a issue, and I don't really personally per se want that to be out into the public right now exactly of what is going on, because it's a problem. So, I mean, at least we have this addressed. The next portion that I want to address is the fact of the whole series at the moment. So it's going to be very obvious here later on that I've realized there are pieces of equipment that I'm using that are not necessarily needed, certain pieces that are not functioning the way that I need them to function, and stuff like that. This, more or less, I am getting to the point of concluding that this was more of a test run of, exactly how I'm going to approach this, how I'm going to go through and per se figure out what I'm going to do with video editing and understanding the process. That way I can do better on another series at this point. I feel like with this series, I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew. I feel like it is going a little bit slower than I honestly thought it was going to end up going. So, what I'm probably going to do is this series here, I'm going to let it go to the in game 2 year mark. From that point, I am going to stop the series, and it will be replaced with a different recorded series. Now, per se, if that is going to be the series with my one buddy that I play games with here and there, or per se if that is another solo independent series on a different map with more fields at a quicker pace, that is yet to be seen, let alone what map I will do that on. Because at the end of the day, the situation for me comes into play. If I feel like it's going too slow, I guarantee that it is feeling slow to you guys, and I do not want that to be the case. Now, as per the idea of going through and building a city per se, that is something that I may address in a different series at this point because of how slow this feels like it is going. I have an idea per se, but it is also to be seen because I do know they officially announced, as of the time of this recording, the DLC 3 and the fact that there's a new map and going through with the emergency services stuff and the whole 9 yards. So that could per se change initial plans, may change what map a different series, let alone a series co-op would be with another individual. So that could change things, along with the fact that they have announced what the basically end of the year is, what they're adding in fruit wise and the whole 9 yards. So that is possibly going to change it as well. That may possibly put us into a different series of gameplay because of these additions that they're making currently. Now, is it going to drastically change what I do here on the channel? It's really not. It may change certain aspects that we may approach or certain situations we may approach at the end of the day, but it is not going to per se change exactly what is happening on this channel because in a long and short sense, I'm not affiliated with Giants or anyone else really. This is more or less a small little ordeal that, I got inspired by one person in particular to try my hand at and try to branch out my skill set because of everything that was going on. So necessarily we may take a look at it, we may mess around with it a little bit, but it's not going to be a big permanent fixture deal inside of the channel itself. Now that that's addressed, the next thing is going to be honestly a overarching conversation of, really what this series has been and doing this. Even though I've kind of briefly talked about this. This this series really has at least opened my eyes a little bit to the process that is done by individuals and why not only does a singular individual typically start with only having one person editing, but why eventually down the line they do change that because they want to pump out that content, they want to go through and make good content, but when you are a small channel that you have no revenue coming in from and things along those lines, it does not do anything with it. Per se, I will say I don't intend initially to even look at this in a revenue aspect because I mainly want something to do to keep my mind and my hands occupied. Because otherwise, I get antsy and I don't like getting like that. So, this really has been a interesting change of pace and has been keeping me focused and keeping my mind busy. And I can't say how much I appreciate it for the few people that do watch. I do know with what I've seen on average, we've had 15 users, give or take, that end up being new users constantly that view it. And I know at least one individual that constantly views it. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Ryan. I know you're probably listening and wondering when that chicken scene is going to be coming. That may be at the very end of the series. Just going to tease you a little bit there, buddy. I gotta tell you, I appreciate you, but I gotta tease you just a little bit with it. But it's one of those deals that I'm gonna do what I feel is right in this scenario. At the, I mean, really, it is a lovely experience to be able to at least do this, let alone to have people watch this. I mean, I don't know how far you guys tend to watch in. I know what the analytics say. I know what a couple people have told me, and I mean, it's really one of those things that the analytics and what a couple people have said don't really line up together. So it's one of those things I don't necessarily know if it is a miscalculation on YouTube's end or what, but it doesn't really bother me that much. I just at least appreciate there's people that take a look, see what I'm doing, and that's really about it. Whether there's returning users or not, it doesn't really bother me that much because at the end of the day, it's just a platform for creativity for me. That's really all it is at the end of the day because it's something to give, basically something to give me like something to do, something that allows me to work through everything that's going on and take my mind off of life and the curveballs that are getting thrown at me right now. Because I'll be honest with you, in the past, I have not really had that creative outlet, let alone the ability to go through and do what I'm doing now. Talking basically, I might as well call it on a stage because that is literally what YouTube is, a stage to literally talk with people, share ideas, share content, try to entertain people. I mean, it really is an experience. And no matter what, I'll say this, I at least appreciate the fact of finally pushing myself to have that experience and have the one individual that really gave me the gusto and the motive and the drive to finally say, you know what, I'm at least going to give this a shot. And if it works, if stuff happens, if people are watching, you know what, that's fantastic. If not, it's a matter of it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's not going to bother me either way. So, I mean, it's about really all I got to say at the moment with everything that's going on. I mean, besides to say thank you, really, to say a big thank you to those of you that do watch these videos and see what I'm doing. Otherwise, I think that's about it. I'll probably splice in a little bit of audio for the ending here. I mean, we're at about the 14-minute mark on this recording, so we got to go until the 23 mark. So I will try to go and start recording the next episode here once I have the ability to. And I will see you guys then. Otherwise, I'll leave you with a little bit of music and the outro, and I will catch you guys later. thanks for tagging along with me today, guys. If you guys liked the video, consider giving it a like, comment, maybe subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, I will see you guys when I get the next episode up. Have a good one.